SOSG, 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 standing on solid ground. Hello, this is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. I am your host of this motivational and inspirational podcast. And today I want to talk about when the morning comes. When everyone wakes up in the morning, everyone has a time or space where they have planned things to do. Whether it's on a Sunday morning when you're getting up and you're planning on going to church, or you're planning on a picnic, or you're planning on watching a game, or you're planning on having a barbecue. Then there are those that, Monday morning you plan on getting up, going to work, or you plan on going to get you something to eat before going to work, or dropping off the kids at school, or, whatever the plans may be for your life. Everyone has a plan. But whenever you get up in the morning, do you have a plan to pray to God? You have a plan, a time to set aside to give thanks, to worship, to lift up holy hands, to listen to the Bible, to sit quietly before the Lord, before the throne of grace and mercy. Do you have that plan to start your day? In finding out that when you have that to begin your day, I'm not going to say that nothing can go wrong. I'm not going to say that it's going to be a perfect day. Things happen. Life happens. But when you know that you wake up that morning and you took that time out, whatever happens may not be as bad as what it could have been if you never had taken time out for God at all. It's almost like getting up in the morning for breakfast. You put yourself in, let's just say, like I am a cottage cheese and a pineapple person. I like to eat cottage cheese and pineapples, or I may give me some grapes and some cheese and a couple of pieces of salami and some green olives. Or I might get up and have me some cantaloupe and some watermelon and some grapes. Whatever that morning I feel, I'll get up and I will have me a breakfast. But God comes first. God is the first one I talk to in the morning. Even getting up out of bed and I'm swinging my feet out of the bed to get up to start my day, I say, thank you, Jesus. When I'm walking to the bathroom to get myself freshened up for the day, I'm thanking the Lord. Because when that morning comes, I think about those people that did not see that next morning. I think about those individuals that did not open up their eyes. That loved ones are preparing to have that loved one to be placed in their resting place. To be taken to the funeral home and getting things together and making sure that everything is planned accordingly. Then there are those that wake up that weren't able to move. Or there were those that could hear the new morning, but they could not see. Or they saw a new morning, but could not hear. Or try to start their morning, and they could not walk. We don't want to take for granted that just because we're able to see a new morning, a new mercy. That day is going to be given to me. I was supposed to have it. I had a right to it. Something can always go wrong. I remember my children and I were out yesterday and we went grocery shopping. And on my way to going to see my oldest son to drop off some things for a new addition to our family, there was a car accident. Now, no one did not seem to be hurt badly or in a bad state of affair. God covered them. The car was pretty messed up. You know, it looked like it was like 2 or 3 cars that was involved in this accident. But it was a pretty bad accident. But it was good to see that people were able to get out of the car okay. That there was no serious injuries. And I thank the Lord that had happened. That people were able to get out of the car without any scratches or any very severe incidents or injuries. That was a good thing to see. Although they were not too happy about their car being in the state that it was in. And understandable. That's very understandable. But that's what I say. Even in prayer, even talking to the Lord, even going to the Father every morning, it does not state that nothing will happen. But God will have his hand over you to keep it from being worse than what it could have been. And that is always a good thing, to start out your morning with a prayer. With even just saying thank you, even if you don't know what to say. Even if you don't have anything to ask God for. Saying thank you. I appreciate what you have done. I appreciate you waking me up this morning and starting me on my way. I appreciate you loving me and protecting me throughout the night. For keeping my children safe. There's something to always address God with. It doesn't always require us asking him for something. It's always that factor of giving thanks to him, no matter what. Because there are those individuals that may not be able to say thank you. That may not be able to give God praise and glory. That may not see that morning. And we just pray that they had a good relationship with God. That they can just be transitioned from this life of mortality to immortality. And they are just transitioning with the Lord. That they are in a better place. We never want to take things for granted. We don't want to take God for granted. Oh, God's supposed to take care of me. No, God promised us he would take care of us. But that comes with a stipulation that we are to be unto him. That we are to walk by his rules. We are to walk in his guidance. We are to go with him as he leads us. Whatever God has for us, we want to be able to give him praise, honor, and glory. And never take for granted that God is supposed to do. That this is an automatic thing. Things are not always so automatic, especially if you're leading your life against God's will. Because at some point it's going to catch up with you. It might not have caught up with you today, but it can catch up with you at a later date. We don't want to take that for granted. We don't want to look at it as a thing where, well, why did God let this happen to me? He's supposed to protect me. How much time do you spend with God? How much time do you sit and talk with God? How much time do you really give to God? How much? So when you start your morning, remember that your life is in His hands. That at any given time, second, moment, He can say, your soul is required of you today. Would you be ready? Would you be ready for Him? Would you be ready to go? I know that I have talked in a previous episode, or maybe a few episodes ago, where I had said if God was to come to my door and knock and ring the doorbell, and He told me, I'm ready to take you with me right now to spare your children's life. I'm willing to take you with me right now where your body will not see a grave. I just want you to walk with me. Will you come? And I said, because I love my children so much, and if God guaranteed me that He would protect my kids, yes, I will go. Not because I don't want to be with my kids anymore, or I don't want to see my grandkids grow up. But if God was to take my hand and say, I will take care of your children and your grandchildren and their children and the generations after that, if you would come with me right now today, I will go with no argument. I wouldn't want to hurt my kids. I wouldn't want my kids to ever think that I never loved them, but because I do love them, yes, I will go with the Lord. That's how much I love God. Because I know He will protect my kids. And He will make sure that they will be okay. And He will keep them in a solemn mind, and in a solemn spirit, and in a solemn heart. No. I love God that much that if God was to stretch out His hand to me and He said, come, I will go. Not because of life being so bad, or not because of being unhappy or anything, but because I will be with someone that will love me no matter what. And because He loved me so much that He personally came for me. Like He did Elijah, like He did Enoch. He came for me. We want to have that type of relationship with God. It is so important that people know who God really is. It is so important for us to have a relationship with God, because we don't know when we're going to need Him the most. And if we already have established a relationship with God, and we have already established that connection with Him, that when troubled times come, we didn't just come to Him only when we're in trouble, but we're going to Him because we are needing comfort to get through whatever trials and tribulations we are facing in our life. We can rise up in the morning, but that does not mean that we'll be able to fulfill the whole day. We don't want to take life for granted and assume that because I woke up this morning, that everything is all good, that everything is going to be just dandy, that everything is going to be perfect and nothing can happen. I remember reading a story about a woman that was marrying another man. This story happened years and years ago. Well, she had broke off with an ex, and this ex was really in love with her. Was really in love with her. That he was never really over her. And it was believed that she kind of led him on. That's just the story I heard. I don't know the facts, so don't take this as me making this comment. This is how the story was put out here. That he was led to believe that they were getting ready to get back together. And the day that she was getting married to another man, this man came and shot and killed her on her wedding day. Now, she woke up that day happy, I'm sure, blissed, just full of joy. And she was preparing herself to get married. She was in her beautiful white gown. She was with her bridesmaids, taking pictures, and so this was a beautiful day for her. The sun was shining. But this man came in and shot and killed her on her wedding day. That's why it's so important for us to have a relationship with God. And who's to say she may have? But because of whatever reasons, this man walked in and shot and killed this woman before witnesses. It was undeniable that he did it. That if he couldn't have her, nobody could. The arms of God can protect you from that. Now, I'm not going to say that it was meant for her to die. No. I'm not saying that he was right for doing what no. I'm not even going to say that God wasn't there. But sometimes we just need to pray to keep ourselves in that momentum that if our life was taken, we will be instantly going to God. that we will be in his hands at that time. That peace will come to that family. That during a grieving process, that God will be there with them. And I'm sure that he was with them. There's no excuse in the world for anybody to take another person's life. As I stated before a week or so ago, classroom of 19-year-olds, 11. Classroom was shot up. Students died. I believe the total of individuals died, including teachers, was 21. God was taken out of the schools. Prayer was removed. Parents are sending their kids to school to get an education, believing that their children will be protected and out of harm's way. This is not the first time this has happened. This is why it's important to keep God in the beginning of our day. We don't know what could happen. And that few minutes that we take out of that day to give thanks and to pray will keep us in God's hands. And again, I don't know about the parents. The parents could have been praying for their children. And that was just an unfortunate accident that should not have happened. But we need prayer for our children. We need prayer for our families. We need prayer. We need a steady relationship with God. We need a consistent relationship with God. That every morning that we get up, we cannot take for granted everything is going to be perfect. I'm not saying prepare for the worst, but I'm saying prepare yourself in God, that if the worst happens, that the bubble of Christ is around your children, around your loved ones, around your husbands and wives and parents and grandparents and your families. Every morning should be that time to say thank you and to ask God for continual blessings and for Him to reign on your family, on you. You don't know what could happen. And as a result, many people have been leaving that day with broken hearts because of a loss of a loved one. I'm not saying that God don't have a list of people that He knows when their time is up. But we don't want to leave this earth prematurely because we take for granted that everything is going to be okay. Let's not take life for granted. Let's place our lives in God's hands every single morning when we get up. That when we proceed with our day, we know that God is going to keep us. And whatever happens, we'll know that God is going to get us through it. This is Karen with Standing on Solid Ground. You have yourself a wonderful and blessed day.